All right, we're gonna go to our next topic, guys.
Sorry.
Don't apologize because you're the guy who's got the.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to recap it. Did we hit everyone's pet peeve? I know we said Alan's, mine. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Play loud eaters. Yeah.
All right, yeah, loud eaters. Can't stand it. The bad boy. Give us your topic, buddy.
Well, I was gonna see your guys' theory on Deja Vu. Well, I was gonna hear you guys' theory on Deja Vu.
That's rewind theory?
That's rewind theory. I'm gonna take a quick second break.
It's like we've done this before.
Yeah.
So what about
I'm
Deja
gonna
Vu?
take a quick second break.
Like you said that before. Just your as you guys.
So okay. That's a great question because actually I had a very weird and crazy deja vu once. I was probably 18 years old, and it was a Sunday morning, and my dad, Sunday afternoon, and my dad's watching football, and literally I walk into the room that he always sits in and watches football and everything, and I stood there and I'm like, holy shit, I've done this before, and I'm looking at the TV and I go, this is so weird. And he goes, what? I go, I've done this before. I go, that guy runs back the kickoff. And literally that's what happened. And my dad like looked over at me like, what the fuck just happened here? You know? And it was the craziest deja vu I ever had. Yeah.
Now, what's your feelings on that? Because people have different feelings about it. They say that when you have deja vu, you're basically hitting life points. You're hitting important parts of your life, I guess, or you're on the right track when you're getting deja vu. You're on the right track in your life.
So you're telling me I have not been on track on my life since I was 18? Because I haven't had it since.
I'm saying these are theories. These are theories that people are having. Like me, like I the reason why I hate deja vu sometimes is because like I feel like that was a moment that I was supposed to change something. You know what I mean? Like it gets to me so bad
that opportunity.
Like, I'll be like, it'd be to the point where like I'm like, oh crap, dude, this seems so regular. I'm like, oh no, and then I immediately move something. I move something. No matter what I'm doing, I move something, so it's not the same. Because I'm like, I feel like it's just so bad. I don't know, but yeah, there's different theories on that. I guess they're saying like this as far as hitting your life points. Or
I have this theory
that you change stuff.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
No, go ahead.
I have this theory that that we might all be in like a computer program.
Damn, you stole my joke. You stole my goddamn joke.
You're resting. You should have used your deja vu experience to know that I was going to say this joke.
You knew he was going to say it.
Yeah.
And it's just like a glitch in the system, right?
And yeah, and I think like this other day I saw this black cat.
Right.
And then I walked down this, and then I saw the same black cat again.
Yeah.
Again.
And I was like, oh, deja vu. And this guy I was walking, he's like, what did you say? And I was like, nothing. I just saw a black cat. And then another that looked just like it walked by, and he was like,
was it the same black cat?
Yeah. And I was like, I said, I don't know, might have been. And then he was like, hey, switch, APOC.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Did you dodge a bullet?
Very slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, very slowly. Because I had seen it before.
So
Now,
what
go
I've read is that deja vu is actually your brain just catching up quicker or something like that. Like you've seen it and it's just like so like how it happens is that you absorb information in your brain and then that like goes in and then it has to go through the nerves and like you kind of feel it out, right? And what happens is apparently deja vu is like it getting crossed at some point. So like you witness it again or something like that. I'm butchering this.
So how does
but-
that happen if I experience that like vision or whatever it is, like that
dream.
experience, and then I don't experience it for another month? Like, and then it actually happens, and I'm like, whoa,
You
this
were
is
like
like
deja
Ian
vu
knowing
in
that the
the-
guy was
a
going to run
deja
the...
vu moment. Like I know this experience and everything that's happening, like here for at least for this 5 seconds.
So my theory, based on what Ian was just describing, is that what if the world as we perceive it is actually moving? We're just processing it a lot slower. It's actually happening a lot faster.
And we
so
catch
things are
up.
happening, and then it takes us actually like maybe milliseconds or maybe seconds to completely process everything. And so we're a lot slower. And what would happen is that like our brains are glitching or like tapping into like something's happening where we're allowed to process it a lot quicker. And so maybe Ian, like what you watched was actually happening in real time, and you saw it, and you're like, wait, this is crazy. he actually kicks it, and your dad's processing at a normal rate, which is a lot slower, and he was just like, holy shit. So, which then brings me to, holy crap, if we can tap into that, and someone could be a superhero by processing things a lot quicker, that'd be cool.
And then you dodge bullets.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. I mean, that would be weird, because how does like touch work? Like,
so it's like you guys have heard of like no space, like space doesn't exist and time doesn't exist kind of deal.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of any of that? No. Okay, so that we experience as human beings through like a linear process of time, like today, tomorrow, the next day, and all that kind of different stuff. But that like time doesn't actually exist at all as a whole, and neither does space. Where we see space, we think things are separate and all this and that, but it's there's actually no space at all, like between everything. So it's like what we're saying, the whole touch. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. So like if things are like kind of something sort of like that, then Deja Vu would make more sense to me, because there is no time difference in all this stuff that's happening. It's like, okay, so you're just kind of like, maybe it was being experienced, but it's always being experienced. Everything, the future, in the past, in the present, are all being experienced all at the same time. If there is no thing as time, then Deja Vu would make more sense. Okay, because it's like, okay, somewhere, some part of me or something is still experiencing all of that, but like here in this experience that I'm having right now, it's like it's hitting me now. You know what I mean? Like I had this vision, I had that dream, I had that whatever. Maybe that was like, because like everything's happening all at once kind of deal, if you're thinking of it like that. There is no difference in that time. Like every time it's like that deja vu is already occurring always anyways. You know what I mean? So it's not really deja vu. It's just you're tapping into that moment. That's
now. How do you guys feel when that's happening though? Like I just explained how I felt. Like I had to change something at that moment. Like maybe there was something I had to do different or something like that. You know what I mean? At that moment.
I just let it ride.
You're not like, you don't feel uneasy?
I do know it. It feels weird. I'm like, oh, whoa. Like, I've definitely been here before. Like, I know what this is like. Yeah. And like, you're like, and then this is going to happen next. And then like, sure enough, that happens. And you're just like,
this is fucking weird.
And I've had deja vu experiences like a lot in my life. Like for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I have them super often. Like every 3 days to a week, I have a deja vu experience. So I've learned from those experiences though. Like I've made decisions differently, and didn't know what the outcomes were going to be because the deja vu didn't go into that whole play, but decided to do something different. Now something I do funny.
Same. You never know.
Or do the same. Sometimes it's like I don't notice that the deja vu even really kind of occurred. There was something felt like it was deja vu experience. It was odd until retro. Like after, I'm like, whoa, I had experienced that at a different point. That's why it's so familiar. You know, and in those moments, obviously, I'm not making any changes. I'm just going, and it's playing out exactly the way I played out in that dream or whatever it was that I had experienced before.
What if it's an evidence of time travel, of changing a timeline?
Ooh.
Well, I don't know.
Some people are saying that too. Like,
well, that's another theory out there too.
Yeah.
Universes, and you literally
someone's changed, like at that moment, someone changed your timeline because of time travel, and you were just like,
that's what I'm going with, like the hitting the life points, as far as like that you're hitting the life. That's a theory too. They're also saying a theory too is that say you've experienced that moment before in your dreams sometime, because everyone dreams, they just don't remember the dream sometime.
Right.
So I mean, that
was the other thing I was going to say, is that we do a lot of things where we're creatures of habit and pattern, and like Ian, you could have just like what you experienced potentially could have been a moment that was familiar to you, in which you walked in the same way into that living room and saw your dad watching a very similar game. Might have been the same teams. He's sitting the same way, maybe perhaps even wearing the same stuff, and it just so happens that like it was just so familiar that it felt like deja vu, or you were able to, like, you've tapped into a part of the brain that is able to quickly calculate all of the things that are happening, and like you knew that guy was going to take the ball back based off everything that you saw, the positions of the players, the blocks that were happening, and the way he caught it.
Ian's a genius.
Well, here's the thing.
That's exactly what I just got out of that. So,
so here's one thing too, as well, that I was reading about, like brain science, is that our brains take in 1 trillion bits of data per second, but we only process 10,000 bits of that data per second. So it's like there is so much that is occurring and happening all around that we're not even aware of whatsoever, not even remotely close to it.
even if we process 20,000 at that particular moment, maybe that's deja vu. You know, or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So here's one thing too, as well, is there's that multiple universes theory that it's like everything exists. There's a you out there, there's a super wealthy you, a one that's poor, a one that's already
Evil
dead,
you.
a one that's evil, a one that's a superhero, a one that's like everything and everything, anything and
I'm
everything
evil.
exists. And every day, little choices that you're making is just putting you either you're experiencing that existence or you're not experiencing that existence kind of deal. Like, what if it's like you're doing that kind of thing with like deja vu? It's like giving you that prep for that moment where you're gonna make a decision if you're gonna go into another timeline or not. You know, it's a heavy-
Right.
Oh my
And
God, you're
that's-
shifting timelines.
What
That's
if
what
that
I'm-
is something like that? How cool
That's
is
what I'm
that?
saying. Like, it's got to be different. Like, you got to, like, quickly change something. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Steve,
Like, I'm just going to run outside the store and just be like, ah, 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 and just run back in. Like, you know what I mean?
You know, that's funny that he
Well,
says
that guy's
that.
crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
I
I don't know.
do that like
I
for
just wanna
other
change
people.
Something.
Like when somebody else was to say like, "Oh, I have deja vu," I go, "Did I do that?" Like,
Did I do that last time? Was that
Did I do
normal?
that?
And they're like,
It's like, and they're like,
"Oh,
"Nope, it's
shit,
done.
you did."
Like it's gone." Because he.
Well, yeah. What if they're like, yes, yeah,
That would be
exactly what happens.
I'd be like, like, I'm gone.
Okay, I'm done.
What would you, what
I'm
would
gonna
you
die
do?
tomorrow.
Yeah, if you did that, and then they were like, yeah, you, and then grabbed you,
Like,
and
oh my God,
pulled
that's
you
my deja
down,
vu.
Like, don't
I'm
do
die
that.
tomorrow.
and like you missed a bullet, or you missed a car almost hitting you. Or
Yeah,
something
exactly. Something crazy.
Like that. Crazy.
You're like, blah, blah,
Well,
blah, blah. So it's like,
So to answer you, Steve-O, on the what do you do in that moment? I go, holy shit, deja vu. I sit there and like yell it out. I'm like, and I what I'm seeing and what I'm kind of projecting, I say it. And when I did that with my dad, that's when I got that fucking crazy look. Like, how did you know that? A and B, I want you to sit here with me, and we're gonna do some bets on some football games here.
See, but I've had that too, which tells me so like that might play a little, you know, that kind of gives at least some credence to the idea of maybe like time doesn't so much exist kind of thing, or there's something in there that we're tapping into a future of some sort, or I don't know, because like how the hell do you can you like play out an entire scenario, you know? And some of us, like I was saying, can do it often. I'm not willingly doing it, but I experience it on a very often basis. So for me, it wigs me out because it's like, well, what does that mean for reality? You know, like how does that play into my perspective of reality? Like that shouldn't make sense. I should never have a situation where I know exactly how this thing's going to play out often, you know, and have these kind of go
so you
on.
would
Like
say
that
it was like, would you guys say
freaks
it
me
was
out.
good or a bad thing, though, deja vu?
It's interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't know if
wouldn't
it's
call it
good
like good or bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, it's odd. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm curious if we really do know
like what it,
what it is.
what is it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like what is that experience? What is
You
happening?
can find out though
A good
if you go to whatisthematrix.com.
Yeah, there's a documentary on it. It was a 3-part
Neo?
series.
There's a 3-part series documentary.
Follows this guy named Neo.
Dang.
There's a great war. It's
Well,
pretty
what if
cool.
it was just like a big programming thing at the end of the day? Like, what if it really was? just like
There's like actual people that think we are living inside a computer program. Like that
I
is
mean, what if-
that is a real theory.
what if this
about
is just like an
our lives.
advanced, you know, program that has been developed and built, and it's just like, and it's all just experiment to see how, you know,
Do you-
life
Do you think that's
exists.
far fetched? Do you think that would be too far fetched?
I think,
I think so.
anything is right now at this. We have no factual evidence for any type of like this is
Sure.
what it really is. You know, we have
Could
a
be.
lot of theories. We have some factual evidence of stuff that exists here on Earth, but not a lot of it is still kind of like speculation out there.
You think we're
I
just
could
like
be-
some alien's ant farm, and they're just watching us
honestly,
evolve?
It really could be zeros and
Possible.
ones, and that's all it is. And that we're AI technology at like leading edge that thinks it's real life existence, and it's just experimenting to see how things play out. And it's like that's all
Like
it is.
why not? Because we have like apparently the universe, whatever, is like on this huge cosmic scale, but then our brains alone have like a really hard time even processing that sort of timeline in the first place. Like when we hear 13 billion year old universe, we hear 13. We don't think about all the zeros that are
That's
after
true.
that.
After
you know?
that, yeah, exactly.
So it's like maybe like our brains aren't even designed to comprehend that, so we don't even have to worry about, you know, or like confuse our brains into thinking, oh, maybe
so
we're.
the aliens made us stupid, right?
What if it's like artificial
Yeah, kind of.
intelligence? What if it's like artificial
Just-
intelligence had created us? Like some artificial intelligence had like exploded, gone crazy, and now it
And we're-
created us in its own system. But it's like trying to create self-consciousness. It hadn't
See, I
yet
don't-
developed, and
I
it's
don't believe
doing it
that,
through like an
though.
experiment like this. Like,
But
Because I think
they're
that
actual
I think they
robots.
would have made like the Terminator movies better.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah,
No, we
it's
made the
like-
Terminators movies.
Well,
No,
Yeah, they were
I-
like, toast
AI,
guys.
it's AI, yeah.
It
God,
came down to
idiot.
see what we thought about the AI.
Yeah,
and
exactly. They're like, oh, they have no clue. Like,
they have
they're
no
so
idea.
much smarter than anything what they're doing.
Or maybe they're breeding us
yeah,
to infiltrate and attack and kill their creators, who are humans.
maybe.
I just think it's interesting because sometimes, like, you go online and you think you're the only person. Everybody wants to be this unique, special snowflake, but then you like read about these stories and somebody does something the exact same way that you always did, and you never knew anybody else did that. But
like
like
a
maybe
program.
everybody has like a little bits of like whatever they put into this program. Like, oh, you can be like this type of person or this type of person. Not me, or maybe it's just like you can pull in something from any of these characteristics and like create a person in this system.
I
talking
read
about,
some
like,
psychology research that says like,
consciousness?
what was that?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you're talking about like the subconscious, like everyone's on this conscious level, like if they're right on the community or something like that.
Well, if Rocco's
sort of.
going with
It kind of goes sort of that like that.
Oh okay.
because they've done studies, and like the girl who like they did this with Harry Potter creator, I forget her name, but the moment that she like there are multiple Harry Potter movies, or I'm sorry, books that exist. Like she made Harry Potter, and then there's like someone else made a story about a young wizard with very like is very detailed, same as Harry Potter.
Yeah,
someone else did it as well, and they calculated that they all pretty much created this thing around the same time.
They
So it
say
ha-
that there's like when something's invented, three others like are inventing it at around the same time. It's very similar kind of thing. And it's like you even see it with the movies, right?
Yep.
They get a movie with like a rabbit, and then all of a sudden you got three other movies with a rabbit. You're like, well, where does this just come from? Like it's like they get it on that same wavelength. It's almost
Rabbit.
like they're picking up on. This was one thing that I was talking to you guys about too before, while they were trying to test the 100 monkey theory. Like, is there some type of like wavelength that all of humanity is riding on, and then they get their little individual stuff that kind of just comes out and sprinkles itself, but really they're running off that main wavelength? Where it's like if you input information into that, does everybody can download from that? And they found out that it's kind of true. If you were to
shit.
so like the 100 monkey theory was that they did this with monkeys, right? And they only taught a small amount of monkeys how to wash their food in a radiation area. And when they had eventually taught the other monkeys in this same island that monkeys on a whole different continent, the same species, developed the understanding of washing their food before they would eat it. They hadn't even came in touch with these monkeys on the island that were in a radiation area. So they did the same thing with humans, but they showed faces. They did it in Britain. They showed a face that had 100 faces in it, and people can only I can only identify 5, 6, maximum. Then they showed the next day they showed it in Australia, and they showed each on the program, they showed where each 100 face is, like every face. It's like it downloaded that information into human consciousness. So then the third day, when they went back to the UK and they showed the picture, it was like they were able to identify 30 something faces this time. Not 100, but like 30, a lot more dramatically than they had done previously. And now was it because of like a download into the system software, and now they're able to kind of like unconsciously,
The Matrix?
not pulling from it consciously, and not
Pretty
like, oh, I
much.
know exactly what I'm doing here and I'm downloading that file, but maybe unconsciously they just had more information now that they were like that. Remember 1 trillion bits of data your brain's accepting in, but you're only aware of the 10,000. What if that's a part of what 1,000 bits of that data is coming in, and you don't have a clue, but it's now information that's being absorbed by your brain.
They need to get like Bright House Lightning then, so we get.
Yeah. No, that shit
Well,
sucks.
it's-
It's so
But
sad.
I'm just saying, like, that kind of thing like plays in there too. It's like a weird, like, well, what is that? Like, is there a program behind things? Is there just like is there an interconnected like godlike source thing? Is it an interconnected, program thing? Like, what is it? But there seems to be an interconnected thing. I just don't know what it is. Is it spiritual? Or is it technological? Is it like, who knows?
Yeah. Damn.
But does that play into deja vu? Is that why we even have deja vu? Is
It's
there
so cool. I think you're
beyond
nailing
that?
something interesting in the wavelength. Like, we just don't know enough about. I was just listening to an NPR story about how neuroscience has recently. It's got a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
And it's just recently surpassed cancer in the amount of investments that are being made to move that industry forward, and it's pretty cool. I mean, there was a convention in which they were gathering this data and talking to people and interviewing people, and I mean, there's so many different specializations too now in the brain It's pretty crazy. Like, and I'm hoping it leads to like a better understanding, because like the brain really is like everything else is a muscle, right? Like everything else is like a body part that could be theoretically replaced. But if we could tap into the brain to like find its untapped potential, or figure out a way to like, because this is all you need, right? Like, if there was a way to download the consciousness and transfer it to a brain or to whatever, like that could be a different perspective on immortality. Not necessarily keeping your body intact, but being able to like move.
I'd be fine with
like-
that, because
like-
I don't
like-
even give a shit about the body, man. Like, I'll take anybody.
Like
Right.
Johnny Depp that he had with the artificial intelligence. He downloaded his consciousness into the program.
And of course, they made it into a horror movie and thought about all the terrible things you could do.
But-
But it would be cool to, or even like we have cloning process, stem cell research to help you stay alive. And then if brain transfers come, like you could theoretically clone yourself, have that thing be in incubation, be like, okay, it's 20, we can now transfer your brain to this like body, and you're like,
Yeah, and doing the island.
Sign me up.
It's
Sign me
called
up.
The Island, the movie where they like clone these
The
individuals.
island,
Like,
the island,
yeah,
the island.
the island.
the island.
Island.
No,
It's-
well,
It's
yeah,
deja vu there.
but they were using those.
They were just taking body organs
Body
whenever
parts,
they needed it,
yeah.
and body parts and stuff. They were like harvesting from these guys, and it was only the rich and the elite that had those, and they were kept like isolated, not knowing like anything existed outside of their little bubble.
It was messed up because they
sounds-
allowed those things to live. Like if you kept
they
the
allowed them to
body
live.
just dormant and like not working.
But is that not what if like is that not a living being like at that point? Is that not does it not have its own like consciousness or no? Is it like kind of sharing will it go through the same things that you go through or no? That'd be like
There's,
That's a whole
there's
other
a lot of
topic,
ethical
like-
questions.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of
it's
ethical
like
questions.
a whole other
I was
topic
gonna say-
about cloning and what kind of experience.
Sounds like the Prestige.
It sounds like we're talking about Vanilla Sky right there, honestly.
It's like,
Where
I
I
have to
haven't
watch
seen
them.
I haven't seen
I
Vanilla.
I haven't
in a
watched
while,
that, yeah.
but-
I've seen it.
holy shit! Watch the movie, guys.
All right, guys.
That's what it's all about. So
Anything else on Deja Vu?
Nope.
It's a mystery,
wait,
man.
I'm getting some deja vu right now.
Whoop.
You're about to end the show.
Whoa.
Oh,
How did you know
How
that?
did you know that?
I do that.
Guys, thanks for joining us for Everything and Nothing show. It's been a lot of fun. You'll get all of these topics. They'll be topic by topic, video by video on youtube.com/MaelstromGamers channel. Full episodes on Saturday. You'll catch us next week with a whole nother set of topics and a whole new episode. You can support us for free. We got our Facebook page. Please like us. Please comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Please
Share
follow
too
us
as well if you like
at-
the video.
That's right. And then follow us at Maelstrom Gamers. Our Instagram tag is Maelstrom Gamers. That's right.
Motherfucker.
A dumb
Yeah.
Maelstrom.
Yes.
The Maelstrom
Was that a
Gamers.
question?
Yeah.
I did not know that one right there.
and then
Was that my question for the day? I thought it was like you didn't ask me a question for the day.
oh no, that's coming up in a bit. And then so we have so those are free ways to support us, but we also have ways to support us if you have an extra $1 or so to give it to us. So if you're enjoying our videos and you find yourself coming back to them and watching them and getting something out of them, you know, $1 could really go a long way to helping us bring that content to you in a higher quality and maybe even more frequently in different ways. So
Yeah.
$1 helps if you guys can muster the money to put it up on patreon.com/MaelstromGamers. It'd be really helpful. It's much appreciated. If not, like I said, there's free ways to get to us too. Steve-O, yeah, before we leave, I just want to ask you just a quick question. Who's the greatest wrestler of all time?
Rondo Masterman Savage.
Nope. Wrong. Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. God,
You're always
he's never
gonna be
right.
wrong, Steve.
I'm
Bad
always
boy's
wrong.
never right.
Hey.
All right, guys, that's our show. We'll be coming back to you next week. In the meantime, keep thinking about everything and nothing. It's been an honor to entertain you. Peace. Take care.
Yeehaw! 18 years old, and it was a Sunday morning, and my dad, Sunday afternoon, and my dad's watching football. And literally, I walk into the room that he always sits in and watches football and everything, and I stood there, and I'm like, holy shit, I've done this before. And I'm looking at the TV, and I go, this is so weird. And he goes, what? I go, I've done this before. I go, that guy runs back the kickoff, and literally that's what happened. And my dad like looked over at me like, what the fuck just happened here, you know? And it was,
All right, we're gonna go to our next topic, guys.
Sorry.
Don't apologize because
Oh.
you're the guy who's
I'm-
got the.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to recap. Did we hit everyone's pet peeve? I know we said Alan's, mine. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Play loud eaters. Yeah.
All right, yeah, loud eaters. Can't stand it. The bad boy. Give us your
Okay.
topic, buddy.
Well, change something. You know what I mean? Like it gets to me so
Squandered
bad
that
that
opportunity.
like, I'll be like, it'd be to the point where like I'm like, oh crap, dude, this seems so regular. I'm like, oh no, and then I immediately move something. I move something. No matter what I'm doing, I move something, so it's not the same. Because I'm like, I feel like it's just so bad. I don't know, but yeah, there's different theories on that. I guess they're saying like this as far as hitting your life points, or
I have this theory.
that you
that-
change stuff.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
No, go
Sorry. I have this theory that that we might all be in like.
I was gonna see your guys' theory on Deja Vu. Well, I was gonna hear you guys' theory on Deja
That's
Vu.
rewind theory.
That's rewind theory. I'm gonna take a quick second break.
It's like we've done this before.
Yeah.
So what about
I'm gonna
deja
take a
vu?
quick second break.
Like you said that before. Just your as you guys.
So okay. That's a great question because actually I had a very weird and crazy deja vu once. I was probably the craziest deja vu I ever had.
Now, what's your feelings on that? Because people have different feelings about it. They say that when you have deja vu, you're basically hitting life points. You're hitting
Okay.
important parts of your life, I guess, or you're on the right track when you're getting deja vu. You're on the right track in your life.
So
Now-
you're telling me I have not been on track on my life since I was 18? Because I haven't had it
I'm
since.
saying these are theories. These are theories that people are having. Like me, like I the reason why I hate deja vu sometimes is because like I feel like that was a moment that I was supposed to change.